Welcome to ATB TV. I'm Darren Dance here with Peter Peter Morgie.
That's him.
In lockdown.
We
are in lockdown, Pete.
I think we're battling the internet because everyone is locked down, Darren. It's a bit slow tonight, but we'll get through.
Well, I would have thought we'd do it this time at 5:30 at night because everyone would have locked up and be in the bar by now at their house. But the internet is a bit slow, Pete.
Yeah, but anyway, we'll battle through. It's warm. It's Friday night, and 20 minutes of not many runners to talk about, but hopefully upcoming runners. We might have a bit of luck across the weekend.
Where do you want to start?
Well, you've been away where it's warm. You're back home where it's cold. And last Friday, it was very cold at Geelong. We're intense, ran 8th. Probably on face value, a little bit disappointing, but I think just the fact that he stayed at 1,700, he's looking for 2,000 and further. He just got ran off his feet when they sprinted from the 400.
Yeah, look, I must say I was really disappointed with that run. I understood that he stayed at the 1,700 and I just couldn't believe he was up near the front after Warrnambool when he was out the back, and he was up there and then he was always going to drop out when they sprinted, but I'm not really sure why he was forward in that race, and haven't had the opportunity to talk to Pat Ryan about it, but I thought it was just a total waste of time myself. But yeah, I'm just not sure where we're going because his run at Warrnambool was outstanding coming from last, and here he was up there pushing along and they sprinted and then he had no turn of foot and he was out the back before we knew it. So yeah, just not really sure what to make of all that.
He jumped that well. It surprised me. He jumped so well too. And then, I suppose he thought, oh, well, we'll just ride him close. But I think learnings are ride him cold out the back. And obviously we'll get out and trip and we'll learn a bit more again. But yeah, it was an exercise of fitness only because we got nothing else out of it.
No.
We had 2 runners on the Saturday. We'll go to the Jekyll and Hyde horse first, Mr. Roderer, who, after his win, you would have thought just goes and stays in the same class, goes to Wodonga and has a day out, but settled back and he didn't want to pass too many. Finished 7th.
No, probably another total waste of time effort there. Yeah, he was... Look, there was no speed in that race and he actually jumped and sat midfield. Now, normally he's a horse that can't keep up, but there was just no speed in that race. So he was up sort of in the middle of the pack pulling. And then I knew as soon as the speed come in, he was going to be going backwards when they were going forwards. And once again, Wodonga, 200 metres straight. Generally, if you're in the first 3 on the corner, you win. You've got no hope to run on there. So my feelings there were that combination of 1, no speed early, being too far forward, and then sprinting on a short straight just gave the horse no hope and made him look very, very ordinary.
He was well back too, so they did like him. But yeah, I see his half-sister won yesterday, Darren.
Yeah, Madam Bolly that we bred out of More Bubbly by Written Tycoon won very well at Sale, won by a few lengths, and I understand its next start will be in at Caulfield. So for the breeders, it's a good result. The mare's now had 2 runners for 2 winners. Disappointingly for the breeders, it wasn't a Bobus race, so they don't get a drink out of it. So no, it was good to see that horse win and win so well.
She's had some, obviously been close for a few runs, so it was a well-deserved win. So hopefully she might go on with it now. Yeah. Speaking of fillies, Capriccio at Flemington, I thought she was very good in an open class listed race. Gee, she travelled like I'll say the winner, but she travelled like she was going to be right in the race at the 200. And look, just some tough old geldings just fought out the race, and she was only 1.5 lengths, 2 lengths behind them.
Yeah, she was. She wasn't beaten that far. Probably the barrier didn't suit being on the inside and then have to angle out and angle through. We've seen that before with her. She does enjoy clear air. She's definitely a good filly down the straight, but overall she was really badly weighted in that race. I think she was carrying 12.5 kilos more than the scale, being the only 3-year-old filly in the race. So to get beat that short margin, carrying disadvantaged by some 12.5 kilos, puts a lot of credit into that run. But I just think myself, Pete, until she turns 4 and meets those horses on better weight terms, she's going to be thereabouts without winning.
I think Daniel's got the right race for her in 3 weeks. It is a 3-year-old filly's race down the straight, so she'll measure up in the ratings and the weights, compared to what everyone's done. So she'll be well represented in that on all scales. And geez, if she runs up to that run, she'll be hard to beat.
Yeah, well, once you adjust the scale for getting back to her own age group, it's probably worth half a dozen lengths or more. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be knocking her on that run given the scale she had to face.
That's it. So they were our runners, Darren. So, we need to get a intense out in Trip, and we'll wait for Capriccio, and obviously Rhoda probably on a bigger track and, like you said, a bit more tempo in the race, and he could probably measure up. At least he's still in his right grade. Going forward, we'll go south. Don't go no further south. We'll go north. We'll go to Eagle Farm. Obviously, Southern France didn't run last week. He trotted up a little. I don't know if you want to use the word lame, but he didn't trot up well in the eyes of the stewards. So they scratched him, and look, it's probably a better race. Eagle Farm, an extra 400 metres. Drop in class, huge drop in class. It's a Group 3 Premier's Cup. He carries top weight, John Allen. Barrier 11 is a $10 chance. And look, to be fair, this is a race you would expect him to be going very close to winning.
Yeah, well, I thought last week he was $100. He's $101 in that race. The import of Annabelle Neesham's one, Zatati. He was $100 in that race at 2,000 metres. And look, they changed his shoes during the week, and he didn't respond that well to it. So they did the right thing. They scratched him in a race he couldn't win, and saved him for this race, which obviously is at Eagle Farm, so it suits horses that can run on. I think the 2,400 is a perfect distance for him. It's obviously going to be. It's not going to be rain affected at Eagle Farm, never is. So it's going to be a good 3, good 4, which I think suits better. He's been sound as a bell this week, settled into his new shoes. It's a much weaker race. He's $10 chance in this race. So that tells you that he is a chance in this race just based on form and what the pros think. So, look, they've been pretty happy with him. And he's facing a horse that won the Warrnambool Cup, which you could argue that South Pacific should have ran second to. And I think Southern France is different gravy to South Pacific.
Yeah.
Definitely different gravy. So this horse should be right in the race. If he's anywhere near right and he gets the right sort of run and they can make ground on the day, as long as they don't walk, he should be right in this.
I looked at the Zipping Classic that he won, just sort of calibre of horses, the same trip, same sort of grade. Well, it measures up very similarly. And, we've got a horse that's a lot more seasoned now. And, Sandown Eagle Farm play the same big straight, albeit they go a different way. So, yeah, look, at $10 each way, he's a good bet each way for sure. Hopefully, let's.
And I think the barrier is really important here, where he's going to come out of gate 10. So he is going to go back and probably sit off him a little bit and be the wider horse. And I think that's his go. I remember there watching him in Sydney one day when a horse came around him and he sort of half sideways looked at it. And I think he's the horse that likes to be out wide and attacking the line in fresh air. So a little bit how they race over in the UK and Ireland. So I think, look, if he gets the right sort of run, I'll be disappointed if he doesn't run in the top 3.
That's it. Because the Zipping, that's exactly what he did. Flash down the outside. We could see them all inside him. The following day, we have Periscope at Ballarat on the turf, as opposed to the synthetic racing that's been kicking off the last couple of weeks. He's out to 2,600 metres, Darren. He'd be He'd be enjoying the slow tempo, the raise the flag, staying prowess that he's got can come through, and at a benchmark 58, drawn well with Declan Bates. He's another one that's a top 3 chance. He wasn't far away at Caston at over 2,000. 4th up, fit, ready to roll.
Well, this is the start we've been waiting for. It's a 58. So he's come up $7. So there must be a couple of nice horses in it. But we've said all along, 4th up will be his go. So he's seasoned, he's fit, he's it's the right time again. He can be winning this race. And I think $7 to win. I think it was $2.40 to place. I think that's terrific value for this horse.
Yep, no, I agree. You can see him be bobbing along not far from the speed either. I think he'll be in the first 4 or 5 from the gate, and hopefully we can get the money. The next runner we'll have nothing on Monday. I think it's, actually I don't know, it might be Mildura, I think. So we got nothing up there. Tuesday we go to Hamilton, where we've got a little Hamilton racetrack specialist in Sunburn. The last 2 runs, she's won convincingly and got beaten at Eyebrow last start. Well, she's in the same grade, same trip, same jockey, same. The only bonus out of not winning last start is she doesn't get penalised, so she's there to win. I reckon she'll be a $2.50 chance, and probably looks our best bet on paper, and that's no denying the other 2 have good chances as well. Trained by Matthew Williams.
Yeah, so I assume that's what this
1100.
And what have we got? Is that the 1400 or the 1200, Peter?
1100.
1100. So it's the last race of the day. They got the odds up here.
Oh, we have we?
$4.20 favourite.
I'd get that. I'd run all over that.
Yep, $4.20.
I reckon she'll start. I think she blew last start, didn't she? I reckon she went from $2.20 to about $3.40 last start. Well, I reckon if they do their maths, it should be the other way this time. $4.40 into $2.20.
Well, she should have won the other day. Should have won. She was just getting a little bit held up when she needed to get clear, and I thought she'd actually got there on the line. But if she reproduces that run, he'll be very, very hard to beat. So he's in the right race. He's placed a really good young Matty and done a terrific job. And I see this week he's got a new tenant there down at his stables. He's got a few spare boxes. He's got a new tenant moving in there.
Who's in there?
Like by the name of Tom Dabinick. Tom Dabinick.
The move's on. The whispers are right.
The move's on, apparently.
Yeah, there you go.
You've heard it here first.
There you go. Tom Dabinick. Yeah, well, the whispers have been out for a while, and there you go. He wants to use the magic waters down there. Just back to Sunburn too. She's probably going to get a track that's a little bit firmer.
He's a good man.
Bit of cutting back and forth there, the old internet rocking and rolling us. But yeah, I was just saying about Sunburn, Darren. I think she'll get a track that'll be probably in the 5 or 6 range, opposed to a heavy 10 that was last start. So that'll suit her. And yeah, Tom Dabinick at Warrnambool. That'll bolster more numbers down there at the beach.
Yeah. Going to be a busy bloke rowing that boat out there.
Might be a job on offer. Can have that through the months of April to September. We got no other runners accepted for, although we do know that Connery and maybe Sea Princess will run at Sandown on Wednesday. Now, it could be Connery's last run. That's correct?
Yeah, well, that's the plan. We sort of advertised this as get to the races and see Connery for his last start. Now we've got lockdown, which is a bit unfair. But anyway, it is what it is. Archie's waited patiently for this race with him. And he's been a great horse all the way through. And he's not where he was this time last year. And he's just got a bit of wear and tear as these older horses get. So he's been a great horse for us, and he's sort of getting to the end of his career. So we sort of set this as his final run. So it's a shame everyone won't be able to get there. Even if lockdown unlocks earlier, I still don't think they'll let him go to the races anyway. So probably resigned to the fact that we won't get to see him run physically again. But we'll be certainly cheering him loud and clear from home.
If he wins by 5, Darren, we might have to put our hands up again and just have another look 2 or 3 weeks down the track. Imagine the owners trying to retire him after a 5-length win. Anyway.
Well, let's worry about that if it happens. And the other mare, Sea Princess with Sam and Anthony Friedman, yeah, she's down to run there as well. And she's just looking, she's just getting fit and getting out in distance now. So she's probably, I don't know if this will be a peak run or a next run will be a peak run, but she's getting closer to be at the level that we'd expect her to be.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's a runaway, but she didn't have much luck there at Geelong, and I expect her to run really well. And it'll be one of those runs where you say, right, get on a next start, hopefully. So that's it. Following weekend, I know just to forecast forward, South Pacific will run around at Flemington in a 2,600-metre race, I think it is. That's one I know off the back. Also, Quick and Dandy and Crackerjack Prince won't be far away again. I think Crackerjack Prince, I think it's a Ballarat race over a mile. And Quick and Dandy, I think, is a Wangaratta race, which is Vobis. All Vobis is attached. So they're 2 horses that'll race very well regardless of where they go next start.
All right. Well, there's a little bit of action there, but through these winter months, it's a little bit quieter than normal, but still plenty of horses heading into pre-training and heading into training. So the numbers will continue to flow, Pete.
That's it. Now, what about the sales up there, Darren? You've gone from shorts to 400 sets of clothing. It's closed now. I think you come home last night. There was some big numbers on some fantastic race mares up there. Obviously, Melody Bell, and I think since Arcadia Queens, I think the 3.4 million has been taken or whatever it was. So do you want to flick us through what your thoughts are from that week up there?
Yeah, we went up to the Gold Coast last week to have a look at the weanling sale and the mare sale. It was very, very strong. As you said, Arcadia Queen was passed into the ring, but later sold to Arrowfield for 3.2 million. Melody Bell was sold in the ring. I think it was 2.6 million from memory. And Mizzy, the Anthony Cummings trained horse owned by Rob Crabtree, was sold for 2.2 million. But while there's a lot of horses sold for $1 million, whether they're off the track or in foal, they were sold for big money. And Karen Ma bought a weanling colt by Invincible for $1 million. That he's going to, I'm not sure whether he's going to race it or put it back through, but they bought 3 there in a package of to play with. Spent a couple of million. I think Rosemont Stud here in Victoria spent just short of 20 million for the week. Yulong must have spent 10 to 12 million. Michael Christensen, who is the ex-footballer at Collingwood, him and a couple of partners probably outlaid 4 or 5 million for a couple of mares. So there was some big results there. We didn't buy anything in the end. We were the underbidders on a very expensive weanling, which I think Liz was relieved that we didn't buy it by Invincible. It ended up making over 600,000. We're the underbidders on a few mares, but look, at the end of the day, we went there to have a look and try and upgrade our herd and add some new quality to it. And it was just the wrong sale to do it because we had Rosemont there with a big budget. We had Yulong there with a big budget. We had some other investors from Australia and overseas there bidding away in a sale that would have broke all records. And I've seen sales before where we've turned up and we've seen a new player come in and spend 5, 10, 20 million, but I've never been in a sale where there's been 5 or 6 big guys come in and go whack. And a couple of dispersals with the death of the Sheik, some quality bloodstock from Shadwell on offer that probably sold double what we all thought they'd make. And, the return on investment, or to try and get your money back out of those yearlings, will take maybe 5 or 6 years, and maybe some of them, they'll never get their money back. So they'll need all the luck in the world. So look, Liz and I walked around, we probably looked at, if there was probably 800 mares on offer, we would have looked at 300 of them. And we came down to a final list of 5, which we would have loved to have bought any one of them. And I think the cheapest one out of those 5 made 700,000. So in a market where we thought they might make 300,000 or 400,000, but they were just well up. No different to the property market that we see now with house prices, and everything's just on an upward spiral. You have to wonder, where the money's coming from and how long it's going to be sustainable. But even the weanlings, I know sellers that went there hoping to get 100 grand. I know one guy that went there hoping to get 100 grand for his colt. He got 270 and he just couldn't believe it. So the market is just totally off its head at the moment. I don't know what the gross number was at that sale, but it would have to be in the order of 150, 200 million maybe. It got spent in 6 days. So,
unbelievable.
Yep, the weather was good. The shorts were out, and the shorts went back in the cupboard last night, and they'll probably come back out in January now. So, freezing cold here today.
Quiet little whisper, little birdie tells me that the espresso martinis were good value.
Yes, good one, Brownie. Yes, we did have a couple of big nights there. Well, there were a lot of people we hadn't seen for well over a year, Pete. And tell you what, if anyone ever sees me drink an espresso martini again, they can take $100 out of my wallet.
Dear. Yes, I know they. I haven't had a lot of them at times, but the times I have,
I was wounded on the Saturday, I can tell you that.
Dear. Anyway, all good. Just on the home front.
But the market's in good shape, The market's in good shape. I was just going to say, Pete, the market's in good shape, and we get ready to go to Melbourne now. Hopefully, there's a sale there in the middle of June, where we've got 3 weanlings from the farm going through, 3 colts, and hopefully, that market keeps going, because there's a lot of buyers that came out of that sale that weren't able to buy or weren't prepared to pay that sort of money for what they were making, and because the people that are actually spending their own money, they need a return. Some of the big companies and big studs, they've got multiple income streams, so it's all about margins. So I know there's a lot of Kiwis there that haven't spent, and I know there's a lot of buyers that want to buy for end user racing purpose or to turn them over in the yearling sales. So expecting a strong Melbourne sale.
Yep.
We just got to hope that lockdown's over and everybody can get there, and the sale goes ahead. I think if it is a bit of a risk, what they'll do is they'll move the sale out. I think it'll still go ahead. They might just have to slide the date back a couple of weeks, but we'll just stand by on that. There's not much we can do about it. It's out of our hands. But yeah, it was certainly a good week. Probably out of the new stock that I saw in the foal brigade, there wasn't a lot, but the trapeze artists were nice horses. And probably the one that impressed me the most was the Autumn Sun. He was a great racehorse, the Autumn Sun. He wasn't a great big horse, but I just felt the stock I saw, I think off a 60 grand service fee, the foals averaged 300, close to it. And they just had a bit of class about them. They just had, just lovely edge, great depth of girth, and just moved over the ground really well. So I was really taken by the Autumn Suns. So looking forward to Melbourne and seeing what that sale realises. As I said, we've got 3 weanlings in that sale, a Capitalist, a Tornado, and a Impending, which are all nice colts in their own right. And then we've got 3 mares that, to be honest, are going there to be moved on so we can upgrade our stock. No different to the review that any AFL club goes through at the end of the season, where you've got to move some players on and draft new ones. So we're certainly in that process as well. But no, it's good to be home, Pete. It's good. I can't wait to get inside in front of the fire.
Yeah, well, let's hope the ones that come home with pockets still filled can fill our pockets and spend up at Melbourne. Yeah. Hey, just on the home front, one of our trainers is now, him and his wife, Matt Kamani and Sarah, have a little boy, a little colt, Luca, obviously named after Matt's dad. So we, congratulations there, guys. I think it was last night. So another little stable rider. I think to go along with, I think they had a girl first. Is that right? Little girl?
Not 100% sure, but I know that's their second. So congratulations to Matt and Sarah. Obviously, we've got a really, really nice filly by Frankel called Steinem that she's going to be a force in the spring. And I bought her off Matt Kamani's mother over in the UK. So there's a bit of a tradition there and a bit of good relationship. So I wish them all the best. And Matt's certainly training plenty of winners at the moment.
Absolutely. I've got not too much more. Obviously, we're locked down till next Thursday, so we've got a couple of runners in between, hopefully the weekend. I think we've got 3 really good chances on the weekend. Oh, well, 2 on the weekend, 1 into Tuesday, and hopefully we can start ticking into the 30s. We're at number 30 winners for the season at about 13.5%. So if we can find another half a dozen by the end of the season, I think it'll be a good result.
Yeah, well, with not a lot of runners this year, and not a lot of runners coming up, no, they're all going to be competitive there, as you say, and I'm sure we'll be talking about one of them winning over the next week or so, Pete. But anyway, it's good to see you're in Victoria and I'm in Victoria. I'm not sure if there's many others because when we landed last night, the crowd at the airport going through security reminded me of going into the MCG on Grand Final day. It must have been at least a kilometre long, people trying to get out of Victoria.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of long lines in Melbourne over the last few days with testings and everything else that's going on with this tracing. But at the moment, I think there'd be, you could probably play cricket up Burke Street. I don't think there'd be too many out, and probably for good reason. There's 2 goals to be out tonight anyway.
All right, well, I'm going to get my jab next Tuesday, so God knows what will happen to me next week, Pete. But Liz and I are off to get vaccinated on Tuesday, so let's wrap it up there before we get cut off. And everyone have a safe weekend. If you're in Victoria, you're not going far. I guess you'll be sitting down, having a coldie, watching the races with the heater on, because that's what we'll be doing after we feed the horses. So enjoy your weekend. If you're in a state, you're lucky buggers. Till next week, I'm Darren Dance with Peter Morganti. Cheers.
See you guys.